Of course, my pleasure. Thank you very much for inviting me. So we've been in a full month of discussing discipline. I think that everyone at Movement Makers and all the people related to the movement probably came up with very nice ideas. What has been your experience? I've seen that you had already some meetings with other movement makers, which is great.
Yes, yes. It's actually been a very powerful month, considering the fact that self-discipline is actually a foundational thing for everybody to have. And, hearing the different perspectives, definitions, and understanding of people, whew, it's really been awesome, I must tell you. So what's been your experience?
I'm sorry, what is it?
What has been your own experience so far?
Oh, my own experience about elaborating in the concept of discipline, you mean?
Yes, please.
Yeah. Well, totally enriching, I will say, because whenever you start having this type of conversations, you definitely receive an important feedback, because the people involved in this movement, in this circle, it's people well seasoned that brings lots of experience, personal and professional experience. So the things they talk about, it's based on their own journey, which is interesting enough, and in having that feedback kind of like helps you to have a different perspective sometimes. Other times helps you to find points of connection between your story and someone else's story, and but at the end, it's always going to be a very nurturing process, because you end up learning a lot. You end up developing your ideas a lot. So these type of conversations are very important, definitely, for us personally, and for those who are kind to listen. Maybe they as well, the ideas that will spark any topic of this can be beneficial. So it is always interesting to participate, and I feel that it is always a time well spent learning and growing.
That's so true. That's so true. I agree with you on that. I agree with you on that. So basically, I really want to know about your story. Can you actually share more on your story, your journey so far? Because I've heard a bit of it. I really want to experience it.
Okay, my story. Like from where to where do you want me to start? Because we can start at different points in my life.
Okay, let's just ask, like, as regarding self-awareness and self-growth, like, how did it start for you?
Oh, okay. Well, I've always been focused on learning at different types of my evolution. I've been focused in different things. For example, when I was a student, I was studying law. I was very interested in developing that area and learning as much as possible and reading as much as possible and participating in things that will, allow me the opportunity to explore and to learn new concepts and theories. And for a long time, I focused a lot on my profession. I focused on, let's say, the technical part of it, and learning the law, learning, the practices, learning all that has to do with my work. But at a certain point, I started feeling that the growth was going like not as even as, it should be, because it's good that we develop as, as professionals. At a different point in my life, I was very focused on developing my family. So I totally center my attention and my effort and my energy in my kids, because I had, I was starting with a family. So my family was my focus, my center. So, and that's perfect. So I had to combine. Then I had two things. I had my work and I had my family, and I pretty much, my attention and my energy was divided in those two streams. And that's, after some time, then I start feeling, okay, I need something. I feel that I need to develop some other sides of me. And I started, you know, by chance, I started dancing. And I always mention this because it's a big part of my personal development. I love dancing. I've always liked it. And
really,
as a, you know,
because the dancing part is important to me too.
really? Oh,
Yeah,
that's great.
I want to dance.
It is a very strong force. And for those who dance, they know, even if we are not professionals, because I'm not a professional dancer, but the passion that you can develop towards this activity, it's, and the benefits that you can derive from practicing are unbelievable. So this last period, let's say, of my story started when I started practicing dancing more formally, let's say, because I've always danced since I was like 3 years old. Since I was able to walk, I danced, you know, but in the family, in, you know, in informal casual events, never really had any training. So when that interest sparked on me, that I want to learn more, like I remember those dancers, you know, spinning and doing all the, you know, all those things, the styling and all that. I was like, I want to dance like that, or at least, you know, try it.
Yeah.
And so I decided to start classes. And something interesting happened, because at that time I was having back problems, as easy as that, because I had for many years a very sedentary type of job. I started developing back problems. So many long hours, you know, in front of the computer and all that. When I started dancing, that issue started, you know, passing the bill. I was not being able to dance as much as I want. I was not being able to play with my kids as much as I want, because I was having this and say, so that was a breaking point for me. I said, well, the things that I love the most, which is spending time with my kids and dancing, I'm not being able to do it because I'm not taking good care of myself. So it was like a snap. I said, well, no more. I need to do some changes in my life. And once you direct your attention to something, things start happening. So I developed a friendship with my dance teacher, who was already in this process of personal development. So I was following his Instagram account, and just by watching the type of, you know, thought leaders that he was following, I was able to, you know, to follow them by myself and start developing my own ideas. So and also because I wanted to be more active in the dancing, you know, in this dancing passion, I started to do more exercising, and I started like slowly, but definite change in my life, I would say. So I started exercising more. I developed a routine in the morning. I try to, and I keep trying to have better sleeping habits, which has been very difficult for me. And that passion that I found in my, in staying active with my kids and staying active and dancing, that was kind of like my why, the reason why I decided to create a healthier routine. And I decided to get around people who were in this journey of personal growth. And once you are exposed to new ideas, and when you are in the right moment, it's like everything makes sense. It's like everything, every knowledge was inside of you. And once you listen it from the right person, then, or from the right source, it's kind of like, yes, it's true. We should act more into like that, take care of ourselves, be more mindful about what we eat, be more mindful about what we get exposed to. And that's how I started. I got to know Evan Carmichael through this friend, as I mentioned it to you, and I started learning about him and many other thought leaders, Tony Robbins and Dean Graziosi, and there are so many, right? Brandon Burchard, and each of them have very important messages. Jay Shetty, Deeper Chopra that I follow a lot. Each of them have different interesting messages that can, help you grow. Because you need that guidance sometimes, right? You sometimes you are not an expert on yourself, right? Unbelievably, we are not experts on ourselves, and sometimes we need a little bit of help, a little bit of encouragement. So that was how it worked for me, and I'm still in this journey. I'm just starting. It all started happening probably 3 years ago, 2 years ago. So it's very recent, I would say. How about you? How this has worked for you?
Awesome, awesome. Thank you for sharing that story. It's really inspiring, you know. For me, it was actually way back in some years ago, though. I think basically around 2014, I actually, started this journey. But I remember when I was actually young, I remember around 8, 7, 8, 9, I actually felt this discontent with the kind of life I was seeing around me. Like, I was that young, but inside of me, I was like, I don't like what humans are looking like. I feel like there's more to what human beings can be, you know? I feel like there's more to what human beings can result to. So I became, not okay with the kind of environment I was, and that led me to, I think when I was like a little bit older, I left home, so I've actually not been like in close contact with that environment for a very long time. So all through those years, it has actually been just me answering questions by myself, not having like a close guide or something like a patron or somebody who helps to show you things. So it has actually led me, created that hunger, and I had a whole lot of questions in my heart. Like, I am this person that even from when I was young, I was very bold to ask any question. I'm not afraid to question tradition, to question whatever it is you call. I want to know, why is it like this? Why is it like this? Curiosity was just very high for me. So it led a whole lot to so many things. And one of the turning points for me was when I like became, I started, staying on my own, having my own apartment. And then one of the things that actually came up for me was the fact that I noticed I was always being thrown into nothing. Like, just like I left home, for example, and then I'll have to unravel through by myself, that push, motivation. If you have to answer this question, the fire was always in me. I want to know why this happens. Like, I was pushing myself and all of that. So that push was always there for me. So I always notice I'm always thrown at nothing. Like, I go, and then when I'm giving jobs, I'm giving the worst kind of jobs to do. And I'll always be tasked to bring the best out of whatever it is I'm faced with. I come across chaos, I come across, emptiness, and all sort of things. And I was always tasked with bringing the best out of them. I didn't know that all this process was training my eye for potential. And this has actually helped me to see beauty in ashes. That is just the truth. It's something that stands out a whole lot for me. Like, I remember times where I would be, and you don't even have like things to be able to take care of yourself and stuff like that. But you still look for the resources, look for things around to combine to be able to find, to make the day go by. So it has actually been a training for me as a person, and it has helped me to develop that eye for potential. Like, I can come into a place and then have that idea of things I can combine to get what I want, even if it's not on the physical space. So it has actually been that for me. That has been like the story for me, and it changed my life a whole lot. When I was going through it, it looked like pain, but it's actually at this moment where I noticed, just keep on believing, just kept on, holding on. And the turning point for me was, even all through these things, there was something I was addicted to. I was addicted to studying books, like the likes of Bishop T.D. Jakes, the likes of so many people that have actually impacted me, Dr. Miles Monroe, and all of that. So There was this addiction. I was getting this information from them that was making me unsettled with where I am. I was just not okay with where I am. So if I can hear somebody like Dr. Miles Monroe tell me he was sleeping with rats and now he's flying his private jet, that's a human being that did that. Why can't I do that? So those type of information has actually helped me to step up like, hey man, it might look not good right now. And hearing their own story, there was something it did to me. It made the hard times I was passing through to not make it look like I'm the only one or the first person that was passing through those kind of stops. It was something, it's something very important for me because it's something for you to be going through hard times, you know, and then maybe you haven't heard of someone who has gone through that before and possible ways in which they came out of it. It makes it harder, it makes it, you know, look blurry and all of that. But even if it was not the same pain we had, but understanding the fact that these people had, you know, these challenges and then they share it, and then I'm going through a different challenge, but there's a recurring message. Believe these challenges will pass. Tough times don't last. Only tough people do. Robert Schuller and all of that. So those type of messages I was getting, you know, kept me pushing, kept me going, and it's actually a defining factor for me. You know, getting to interact with the minds of other people. You know, that just like you were saying in your story, there is something that always happens when you interact with other people. Just like you said in your story, you know, when you were seeing other people dance, it resonated something inside you, which means you had dancing inside you, but you needed a picture to actually fan it off. So that was actually one of those things that actually helped me a whole lot, you know, studying, listening to these things, you know, seminars and all of that, despite the fact that your circumstances don't match with the dreams that you are having. But there was actually that push. Come on, man, keep on going. They have said in their story that despite the challenges they were facing, they still kept on going. So what is stopping me from forcing my game? I have to keep on going. So it's actually been fundamental for me, despite the pain of whatever it is we go through. Personal development has been the light, like the flashlight has been helping me navigating through the pain. The pain actually reduces, you know, when you have this useful information. It's not as if the pain is not there, but there is a way it relieves you of it because of the glimmer of hope it brings you. You have that awareness that, hey, somebody went through something like this and came out. It might look like just a sentence or somebody just speaking, but it gives a whole lot of strength to somebody who is passing through a whole lot of pain. And this has actually been where it has helped me a whole lot. And that is why today, for example, I'm a personal development coach currently in Turkey, and my training has been my message. The fact that no matter what, there is always potential we carry, no matter what. And the pain we go through don't take away what we have inside us. It remains there. It's still waiting for us to bring it out, you know? So it has actually been my story. And that's why I'm dedicated towards helping people, you know, discover their potentials, you know, helping them, you know, discover their potential, developing the ideal version of themselves that will live in the reality of their dreams and potential. So that has been my story as a person, my experience, and I'm just dedicated towards helping people do this at the moment.
It's beautiful because many things come to my mind after listening to you. First thing, you know, helping people to realize their potential is such an important mission, right? Because every person is like you know, like an infinite source of potential. Yeah. Just like, you know, Deepak Chopra says, we are infinite sources of potential, but sometimes we don't even realize what are we capable of, just because we've not been trained to develop our own conscious.
Yes.
Yeah. It's funny and sad that formal education focus so much in developing different hard skills in people, but they don't push you to develop your own. right?
Very,
So you kind of like grow up believing that if you have specific skills that you learn at school or university, that's gonna be enough to get you through life. And when the real life start happening and you start encountering issues and problems, and then all those hard skills are useless if
yeah,
you do not have a strong base within you.
and that's
So
true.
helping people to realize their potential is such a beautiful mission. And I really wish you luck, because as I come from a country, right, in Latin America, Ecuador, which faces challenges. People faces so many challenges, and beyond Europe probably, and North America, some countries more, uh, despair and sadness, it's very prevalent, right? And economic injustice and social injustice, it's very prevalent in the rest of the world, and that can totally have an impact in the people, in how people perceive themselves. Many times I talk to my clients from different parts of the world, and they feel there are no chances for them in their country. They feel that whatever potential they have, they will not be able to use it because their countries don't provide them with the conditions to at least, have a reasonable chance to use their passion or their ability or their knowledge, because there are no enough resources. And for many, they just got that belief in their minds, and they actually cut any chances of doing what they were meant to do. And sometimes they look at moving to other country as their only chance to have that possibility to use their potential. But not everybody can move to other country. That's the truth.
That's true.
And within our circumstances, we need to learn how to use our potential, how to be resourceful, how to find, despite the challenges and despite the problems or issues you may be facing as a society or as a person in your country. Despite all that, we need to find how can we use and how can we be of use to others through our potential, through our abilities, through our knowledge. So, yes, I would say that there are some places in the world that offer you better chances to realize your potential. That's definitely true.
Environment.
That's definitely true. But having someone that can help you in your country to develop your potential in your local environment, that's gold. So it's great. It's great. Congratulations.
Thank you so much for stressing on that initial point you made on the kind of education we actually receive. I was having a conversation with Christy Maggio in a Movement Maker some days ago, and we actually talked on that. The fact that, like in the educational sector, for example, in Think and Grow Rich, Napoleon Hill actually stresses that a whole lot about the fact that what we actually receive as education is just information being spread out. I talked about the fact that the different activities that we actually have in our society and schools should be directed at, producing courage, should be directed at producing discipline, directed at producing persistence, because that is the real thing you need when you face challenges. Challenges will come to ask you, how much of courage do you have? Despite what you are facing, can you continue what you gotta do? Can you do what you have to do? This is what I call education. If I can see somebody developing character, growing, understanding, discovering himself, that is real education. There might be, we can always get information at any time. Oh, this is the definition of this is used for this. But if you as a human being who is the one using these things don't understand how you function, you don't understand the power of your mind and all of that, when these things that you are defining and getting information, when they come around you in different forms, you won't be able to identify it. It takes somebody who is courageous to stay in the storm and still stand there, and despite the blurriness, be able to find gold in the storm. So if you are not courageous, you run out of it, and then there is gold actually where you are standing. So I'm so glad you actually stressed that, because education is actually, helping people with this character development. I think that is the foundation.